The planet Zarathia glimmered like a jewel in the blackness of space. Its cities rose tall with crystal towers, reflecting the twin suns in dazzling colors. Among all the wonders of Zarathia, none were greater than the palace of Queen Lyrael, ruler of the largest and most powerful alien kingdom in the sector. Lyrael was known across galaxies for her intelligence, courage, and unmatched skill and strategy. Her people admired her, and even rival planets respected her. But despite all her accomplishments, there was one matter that troubled her more than any battle or negotiation: marriage. In her life, she had met countless beings, aliens, humans, traitors, and warriors, but none had impressed her enough to consider sharing her life with them. And then, unexpectedly, a human named Ethan entered her life. Ethan was unlike anyone Lyrael expected. From the moment she first saw him at the Intergalactic Council meeting, he appeared quiet, calm, and modest. His hair was dark and slightly messy, his clothes simple, and his posture relaxed. He did not speak loudly or try to impress anyone. Yet there was something in his eyes, a spark of confidence and kindness that made Lyrael pause. The court had been skeptical. "Your Majesty, why would you marry a human?" her chief advisor asked one morning. "They are fragile compared to our warriors. Their kind is untested in true galactic conflicts." Lyrael had smiled softly. "Strength is not always measured in muscle or size," she had replied. "Sometimes the mind and heart are stronger than any weapon." The palace was vast, filled with servants, soldiers, and scholars. But in this enormous space, Lyrael found herself observing Ethan more closely than anyone else. He did not rush to participate in the formalities, did not boast about himself, and treated everyone with respect. He listened carefully when the alien diplomat spoke, often asking thoughtful questions. While some humans might have been overwhelmed by the alien grandeur, Ethan seemed completely comfortable. The first few weeks of their marriage were calm. Lyrael watched Ethan adapt to her world. He learned the language, the customs, and the intricate court rituals with patience. He refused unnecessary luxuries, preferring simple meals and quiet walks in the palace gardens. Lyrael expected humans to be loud, showy, and ambitious, but Ethan was none of these. At first, she was slightly disappointed. She wanted to see sparks, to feel the energy of a powerful human. Instead, he was calm and unassuming. One morning, the queen invited him to a training demonstration. Zarathia's soldiers were performing maneuvers, showing their incredible strength, agility, and coordination. Lyrael expected Ethan to watch with awe or maybe even hesitation. Yet, he simply stood quietly at the edge, observing, his hands behind his back. "Do you wish to join?" "Ethan?" Lyrael asked, raising an eyebrow. Ethan shook his head politely. "I would rather watch, Your Majesty. I do not wish to disturb your traditions." The soldiers, many of whom were massive and armored, looked at him with amusement. A few whispered, "How can this human be anything but weak?" Lyrael, however, noticed something different. There was no fear in Ethan's eyes. He was calm, not intimidated by their size or strength. She felt a strange mix of curiosity and uncertainty. Was this human simply modest, or did he hide something deeper? As days passed, she began to notice small things about him. When a servant dropped a tray of delicate alien crystal glasses, Ethan moved swiftly to catch it before it shattered. When a young alien child became frightened by a mechanical training drone, Ethan knelt beside them, speaking softly, and soon the child giggled. The court began to talk behind their hands. Some said Ethan was clever, others called him ordinary. Yet no one could deny that he had a calm confidence unusual for humans. Lyrael, too, felt conflicted. She had married him, thinking him modest. But now she sensed that modesty did not equal weakness. One evening, as the twin suns set and bathed the palace in golden light, Lyrael walked with Ethan through the gardens. The plants here were bioluminescent, glowing softly as night approached. Lyrael asked, "Do you ever feel afraid, Ethan? Of all this, I mean, the palace, the people, our enemies?" Ethan shook his head, smiling gently. "Fear is natural, Your Majesty, but it does not have to control me. I cannot stop challenges from coming, but I can choose how to meet them. Lyrael found herself impressed. She had faced countless dangers in her life, yet this simple human spoke with a clarity that made her think differently. She wondered if his calm nature might hide an ability she could never imagine. The next day, news arrived that a neighboring planet was sending envoys to challenge Zorathia's authority over a contested sector. Lyrael's advisors prepared for political maneuvers and battle strategies. Ethan offered to observe the plans, asking questions and pointing out small details the aliens overlooked. His insights were subtle but significant. He did not boast. He simply spoke with clarity, and the advisors could not ignore him. Days turned into weeks. Lyrael watched as her human husband quietly navigated a world full of power, intrigue, and danger. He did not assert himself or claim glory. Instead, he listened, learned, and acted when necessary. And in those rare moments when his actions had consequences, he displayed a skill and confidence that even the most experienced aliens could not match. Yet, Lyrael did not fully understand him. She began to wonder if humans were capable of more than she had ever imagined. Could one human, modest and calm, truly stand beside a queen known for her unmatched courage? The thought both excited and worried her. Then came the day of the minor alien ceremony, a traditional test of agility and skill. Every member of the royal court was expected to participate, showing their loyalty and competence. Lyrael knew this was the perfect opportunity to see Ethan in action. "Will you join, Ethan?" she asked again, standing beside him in the palace courtyard. He shook his head politely, bowing slightly. "I am honored, Your Majesty, but I think it best if I watch. I would not wish to fail or bring dishonor to your court." The aliens round them chuckled quietly. "See, he is truly just a human. How modest, how weak." Lyrael's heart tightened. She did not see weakness, only caution and respect for tradition. Still, a part of her felt uneasy. She wanted to know if Ethan could rise to challenges, if his quiet demeanor concealed strength or skill. The ceremony began, and the court erupted in movement. Aliens leapt, spun, and displayed feats of strength beyond imagination. Ethan watched silently, analyzing every move, every step, and every flaw. Lyrael noticed his eyes tracking patterns others missed, his mind quietly absorbing the rhythm and tactics of the performance. When the ceremony ended, the queen turned to him. "Perhaps you underestimated what Zorathia demands," she said softly. Ethan smiled, not arrogantly, but with calm certainty. "Perhaps, but I believe understanding comes first. Action will come when necessary." That night, Lyrael could not sleep. She paced the palace corridors, thinking about her human husband. She had married a man who seemed ordinary, yet she sensed that his modesty was only the surface of something extraordinary. She felt a mixture of anticipation and uncertainty, wondering what he might reveal in the future. Little did she know, the galaxy would soon test Ethan in ways that would astonish not only her, but all of Zorathia. The quiet man she had married was about to show a side of humanity that even the most advanced alien civilizations had never seen, a side that could change the fate of her kingdom and forever alter her. Understanding of courage, intelligence, and heroism. For now, though, he remained modest, calm, and seemingly ordinary. But in the silence of the palace night, the first whispers of his true potential stirred, hinting at a strength that no one could have imagined. And Queen Lyrael, proud and wise as she was, felt the first spark of awe that would only grow in the days to come. Days passed peacefully in the palace, yet the calm was only temporary. Messages arrived from the borders of Zorathia, warning of unusual activity. Scouts reported a fleet of enemy ships approaching a nearby sector. These were not ordinary invaders, they belonged to the Vorlax Empire, a fierce and strategic rival that had long coveted Zorathia's rich territories. Queen Lyrael read the reports carefully. Her face remained calm, but her mind raced. She had prepared her soldiers for every imaginable scenario, yet there was something unnerving about the Vorlax tactics. Unlike ordinary enemies who relied on sheer strength, the Vorlax used deception, feints, and unexpected maneuvers. Lyrael realized this would be no ordinary battle. In the grand strategy room, Lyrael convened her top generals. Maps of the sector floated holographically in the air, showing enemy positions, troop movements, and potential points of attack. Enemy numbers are greater than we expected, said Commander Tharek, a towering alien warrior with multiple arms, each holding a blade. We can hold the front lines, but their flanks are unpredictable. We risk losing strategic control. Ethan, standing quietly near the edge of the room, listened carefully. He did not interrupt, as was his habit, but his eyes moved rapidly over the holographic map. He noticed patterns that others missed. The Vorlax fleet moved in uneven formations, leaving small but critical gaps in their defenses. Lyrael caught his gaze. "Do you have a suggestion, Ethan?" she asked. He stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "If we reposition some of our forward units and create a decoy formation on the northern ridge, it might draw the enemy's main force into a trap. The gaps in their formation can then be exploited to cut off their advance." The generals exchanged skeptical glances. "A human suggests a military trap?" One of them muttered under his breath. Lyrael, however, remained silent, observing Ethan carefully. "Explain your plan," she said, her tone steady. Ethan walked through the strategy step by step, pointing out how the Vorlax would react to each move. He explained how the soldiers should advance and when to pull back, emphasizing timing and coordination. His words were precise and clear, leaving little room for confusion. Commander Tharek hesitated but finally nodded. "It could work," he admitted. "We will try your plan." The soldiers prepared for deployment. Lyrael stood among them, watching Ethan move with calm authority, quietly giving instructions to smaller squads, helping them understand the subtle adjustments needed for the strategy. Though he did not carry a weapon yet, the soldiers already trusted his judgment. As the first wave of Vorlax ships entered the sector, the battle began. Alien blasters fired, energy shields glowed, and the air was thick with tension. Lyrael commanded from above, directing her forces with precision. Ethan remained near the front lines, carefully observing every movement. The enemy expected a straightforward fight. They saw a human at the edge of the formation and laughed. "How can this fragile creature affect the outcome?" One Vorlax soldier sneered, but Ethan was not afraid. He had studied the Vorlax tactics and anticipated their movements. With calm gestures, he signaled to squads, redirecting units to weak points. The decoy formation he suggested worked perfectly. The Vorlax fell into the trap, advancing quickly toward what they thought was an easy flank. Suddenly, Ethan shouted, "Now! Close in from the sides!" Zorathian squads, previously hidden, moved swiftly and cut off the enemy's advance. The Vorlax soldiers were stunned, caught in a precise ambush that left them disoriented. Lyrael watched from above, her jaw tightening in amazement. Her human husband, whom she had thought modest and unremarkable, had just orchestrated a tactical maneuver that her top generals had not seen. The battle continued for hours. The Vorlax regrouped and tried to push forward again, but Ethan anticipated their every move. He adjusted strategies in real time, using small squads to outmaneuver larger enemy forces. His timing was perfect. His decisions were precise. Soldiers who had once doubted him began to follow his directions without question. At one critical moment, a Vorlax commander broke through part of Zorathia's line, aiming directly at Lyrael's position. Panic spread among the soldiers, and Lyrael's heart raced. Without hesitation, Ethan sprinted forward, his movements swift and exact. He intercepted the commander, disarming him with a clever maneuver and redirecting him away from the queen. Lyrael's breath caught. She had never seen a human move with such skill and courage in battle. Her respect for Ethan surged, replacing the lingering doubts she had held since their marriage. She realized that his modesty was not weakness, it was the calm before action, the quiet of someone who had the ability to rise in moments that truly mattered. The Vorlax, shocked by the unexpected counterattacks, began to falter. Their formations broke under the clever strategies orchestrated by a human they had underestimated. Lyrael's soldiers fought fiercely, inspired not only by the Queen's command but also by Ethan's calm confidence. Hours later, as the suns of Zorathia began to set, the Vorlax forces were forced to retreat. The battlefield was filled with exhausted soldiers, both Zorathian and enemy alike. The Queen descended from her vantage point, moving quickly to Ethan. You changed the battle, Lyrael said, her voice filled with astonishment. I thought humans were fragile, modest creatures, but you led my soldiers better than I imagined possible. Ethan, breathing heavily, shook his head. I only did what I observed. Your soldiers are skilled, Your Majesty. I only help guide them. The courage belongs to them. Lyrael studied him closely. She saw no arrogance, no pride, only calm and clarity. And yet, in that same calm, there was undeniable brilliance. She felt a mixture of awe and deep respect for the man who had just turned a dire battle into victory. The generals approached, their expressions a mix of disbelief and admiration. Commander Tharek bowed deeply. Your Majesty, Ethan's strategy saved countless lives. He is more than a human. He is a warrior and a leader in his own right. The Queen nodded slowly. Yes, I can see that now. What I mistook for modesty was hidden strength, hidden wisdom. I should have known better. Ethan remained quiet, watching the sunset over the battlefield, his thoughts calm and reflective. Lyrael stayed by his side, feeling a strange new connection growing between them. This was not just admiration, it was understanding. A realization that humans could surprise even the most powerful alien minds. That night, the palace celebrated the victory. Soldiers shared stories of Ethan's bravery and clever tactics. Lyrael, while proud of her people, could not stop thinking about her human husband. He had done what few aliens could. He had remained calm, clever, and courageous when it mattered most. She recalled their first days together, how she had thought him ordinary, quiet, and perhaps unremarkable. Now, she realized she had been entirely wrong. Ethan's modesty was the cover of a mind and heart capable of extraordinary feats. In the privacy of her chambers, Lyrael reflected on what she had witnessed. She had married a human, expecting simplicity and modesty. Instead, she had married someone who could inspire soldiers, outthink seasoned generals, and face danger without fear. The revelation both humbled and thrilled her. Ethan, meanwhile, retired to his quarters, not celebrating or boasting. He studied maps of the sector, already thinking about potential threats in the future. Calm, observant, and prepared, this was the human side of him that few had yet seen. And Lyrael knew, deep inside, that this was only the beginning. The Queen finally understood that the quiet man she had married was capable of actions that could alter the fate of her kingdom. A new sense of curiosity and respect blossomed within her. She wondered how much more he had yet to show and whether humanity's true potential had only just begun to reveal itself. For now, the first test had passed. The battle had been won, and the modest man had proven his worth. But in the galaxy beyond Zerathia, greater challenges awaited. And when they came, Ethan would have to step into the center of danger once again, showing the aliens and his queen what a human could truly achieve. The victory against the Vorlax fleet had been a turning point. Zerathia celebrated the human who had guided their soldiers with brilliance. But Lyrael knew that the true measure of Ethan had yet to be revealed. The galaxy was not always so predictable. While the Vorlax retreated for now, reports warned of a larger fleet preparing to strike stronger, smarter, and more dangerous than before. Queen Lyrael called a council to discuss the new threat. She noticed that Ethan, as always, remained calm, quietly observing the alien leaders as they debated tactics. His eyes scanned maps, fleet positions, and enemy patterns with remarkable focus. Your Majesty, Ethan said softly, we cannot simply wait for them to attack. We must anticipate their next move. The Vorlax will try to lure us into a trap, testing our defenses and morale. Some of the generals looked skeptical. And you think you know how they will act? One asked, a hint of amusement in his tone. A human predicts alien strategy? Ethan did not answer with pride or arrogance. He simply pointed at a weak sector along the northern border. If they believe we will defend the main gates, they will exploit this area. It is less guarded, and the terrain favors their fast ships. We can use it to our advantage, but we must act before they strike. Lyrael studied him closely. The calm, modest man she had married now seemed different. He was still polite, still respectful, but his words carried the authority of someone who understood conflict at a deeper level. She realized that his intelligence was not just clever, it was instinctive. The next day, Ethan moved among the soldiers, quietly giving instructions and observing drills. He did not wield a weapon, nor did he shout orders. Yet, every movement he suggested improved efficiency. Every insight he offered made the troops sharper and faster. Even the most experienced alien generals found themselves following his guidance. Then the attack came. The Vorlax fleet emerged from hyperspace, larger and more organized than anyone had anticipated. Ships glowed with energy shields, and advanced weapons hummed with deadly precision. Panic briefly flickered among the soldiers, but Ethan's calm presence grounded them. He moved along the front lines, analyzing, calculating, predicting. Lyrael stood at the command center, watching as the human she had thought modest and ordinary stepped into action. He did not hesitate, did not fear. He moved with the precision of a master strategist, directing squads, signaling hidden units, and exploiting weaknesses in the enemy's formation. At one critical moment, a Vorlax battleship aimed directly for the central palace. Alarms rang throughout Zarathia, and soldiers scrambled to defend their queen. Ethan saw the trajectory and immediately devised a plan. Using smaller attack units as decoys, he lured the battleship away from the palace and into a trap. Energy nets, previously hidden, immobilized the ship, and Zarathia's forces captured it intact. The court gasped. Lyrael could not hide her astonishment. This human, who had seemed so modest, had saved her palace from certain destruction. She felt a surge of admiration and something deeper recognition that courage and brilliance were not measured by appearances. The battle raged on, and Ethan continued to lead from the front without wielding any alien weaponry. His strength lay not in brute force, but in his mind and adaptability. He anticipated enemy moves, redirected troops, and even improvised tactics on the spot that alien soldiers had never seen before. His strategies were like puzzles, each piece falling perfectly into place. At one point, a squad of elite Vorlax warriors broke through Zarathia's defense and charged toward Lyrael herself. Panic surged through the command center, but Ethan reacted instantly. He sprinted across the battlefield, intercepting the enemy with a series of clever maneuvers. Using momentum and their own force against them, he disarmed and redirected the attackers, saving Lyrael from harm. For a moment, the queen froze. She had always known humans were resilient, but witnessing Ethan in action changed everything. He was not just brave. He was instinctive, creative, and capable of thinking several steps ahead. Her respect for him grew into awe, and for the first time, she understood the depth of his courage. The battle finally neared its climax. The Vorlax, realizing they had underestimated the humans and aliens working together, tried to regroup for a final assault. Ethan, noticing the pattern in their retreat, suggested a counteroffensive that trapped the remaining enemy ships in a narrow sector. The soldiers followed his plan flawlessly, and by nightfall, the Vorlax were defeated. Victory celebrations erupted across Zarathia. Soldiers cheered, leaders praised, and the court hailed Ethan as a hero. Yet he remained calm, quietly walking through the ranks, shaking hands. And acknowledging their bravery, Lyrael approached him in the aftermath, her eyes bright with emotion. "Ethan," she said softly, "I thought I understood humans. I thought I knew what modesty meant. But today you showed me something I never imagined. You are more than clever, you are a hero in every sense." Ethan smiled gently. "I only did what was necessary, Your Majesty. The real heroes are your soldiers and your people. I just helped guide them." The queen studied him closely. She could see the truth in his words. Yet she could not ignore the reality, his calm presence, his quick thinking. And his courage had turned a near disaster into a victory that would be remembered for generations. That night, Lyrael could not sleep. She walked through the palace gardens, remembering every move Ethan had made on the battlefield. She recalled how he had saved her life, how he had outsmarted generals, and how he had inspired fearlessness in soldiers who had once doubted him. The modest man she had married was, in truth, extraordinary. Ethan, meanwhile, reviewed the battle in his own way. He examined every move, every decision, thinking about what worked and what could be improved. Calm, methodical, and focused, he prepared himself for the challenges he knew were coming. For him, the battle was not about glory. It was about survival, strategy, and responsibility. In the following days, Zoralia recovered from the attack. Lirael noticed that the soldiers were more confident than ever. They spoke of Ethan not as a human outsider, but as a leader, whose courage and intelligence had matched and even surpassed their own. Even the alien generals, once skeptical, openly praised him. Lirael herself began to see humanity in a new light. She had always respected the species for their resilience and adaptability. But Ethan had shown her something deeper. Humans could combine intellect, creativity, and courage in ways that even the most advanced alien civilizations could not predict. One evening, as the twin moons of Zoralia rose, Lirael stood beside Ethan in the palace observatory. The stars stretched endlessly across the sky, and the air was filled with a calm serenity that contrasted sharply with the chaos of the recent battle. "You surprised me, Ethan," Lirael said softly, her voice full of awe. "I thought I knew what humans were capable of. But today, you showed me that we can never truly predict your strength." Ethan looked at her with a quiet smile. "Perhaps the same could be said for any being, Your Majesty. We all have strengths hidden beneath what others see. I only hope I can continue to be worthy of your trust." Lirael felt a warmth in her chest that was new and unfamiliar. Respect had grown into admiration, and admiration was beginning to stir something deeper. She realized that she had not only married a modest human, she had married a being capable of extraordinary courage and brilliance. The palace was quiet that night, but within its walls, a new understanding had taken root. The modest human she had married had proven himself in ways that words alone could not capture. His calm intellect, quick thinking, and bravery had not only saved lives, but had also reshaped the Queen's perception of humanity. For Lirael, there was no turning back. She could no longer see Ethan as modest or ordinary. She had glimpsed the true depth of his character, and it left her both amazed and inspired. And for Ethan, the battles were not yet over. The galaxy was vast, and challenges would continue to come. Yet he faced the future with the same calm determination, knowing that courage, intelligence, and adaptability were the true measures of strength. In the quiet after the storm, the Queen and her human husband stood side by side, looking at the stars. Both understood that this was only the beginning of a journey that would test their courage, their loyalty, and their understanding of each other. The hero had been revealed, and the galaxy would never see humans the same way again. The galaxy felt quieter after the battle, but peace was always temporary. Queen Lirael knew the Vorlax Empire would not forget their defeat. Scouts reported scattered attacks and minor skirmishes along Zoradia's borders, but nothing that rivaled the recent battle. Still, Lirael was cautious. She had learned from Ethan that victory required preparation, strategy, and constant vigilance. Ethan moved calmly through the palace halls, reviewing reports and helping soldiers improve defenses. His modesty had never left him, but the confidence he now carried had transformed the way the court and the soldiers saw him. He no longer blended into the background. He had become a symbol of hope, courage, and intelligence. The court gathered for a ceremony to honor the heroes of the battle. Soldiers and leaders from every division stood in proud formation. Lirael stood at the front, her robes shimmering in the soft light of the palace hall. She looked at Ethan, standing quietly beside her, and felt a surge of admiration. "Today," she began, her voice steady and strong, "we honor not only the bravery of our soldiers, but also the courage and wisdom of those who guided them. Among them is a human modest in appearance, yet extraordinary in action. Ethan has shown us the strength, intelligence, and courage that all beings aspire to, but few achieve." The court erupted in applause. Generals who once doubted Ethan bowed deeply. Soldiers cheered, chanting his name. Even the alien advisors, skeptical for so long, could not hide their respect. Lirael noticed a subtle smile on Ethan's face, quiet and humble, but his eyes held a quiet fire of determination and care for those around him. after the ceremony. Lyrael walked beside Ethan through the palace gardens. The bioluminescent plants glowed softly under the twin moons, creating a calm and serene atmosphere. She could finally speak openly about what she had felt since the first battle. "You saved this kingdom, Ethan," she said softly. "I thought humans were ordinary. I thought I had chosen a modest, quiet companion. But now, I see that you are extraordinary in every way that matters." Ethan looked at her, calm and thoughtful. "I did not act alone, Your Majesty. The soldiers fought bravely. Your guidance shaped our success. I only tried to help where I could." Lyrael smiled. "You did more than help. You inspired everyone. You showed us what humans can truly achieve when they combine intelligence, courage, and care for others. I have never seen anything like it." For the first time, Lyrael felt completely at ease with her human husband. She realized that she had not just married someone brave. She had married someone whose presence changed the hearts and minds of an entire kingdom. His courage and wisdom had not only saved lives but had strengthened the loyalty and unity of her people. In the following weeks, Ethan continued to work alongside the generals, helping to fortify Zorathia's defenses and train the soldiers. He introduced new strategies, often inspired by human thinking, which blended perfectly with alien techniques. The soldiers responded eagerly, impressed by his insight and leadership. One day, a young soldier approached Ethan, nervous and uncertain. "Sir," the soldier said, I do not think I can lead this squad. The enemy is too strong." Ethan knelt beside him, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Courage does not mean you are never afraid," he said softly. "It means you act even when fear is present. You have the strength and intelligence to guide your squad. I will help you if needed, but trust yourself. You are ready." The soldier's eyes brightened with confidence. "Thank you, sir. I will try my best." Lyrael watched from a distance, her heart swelling with pride. She realized that Ethan's greatest strength was not just in battles or strategy, it was in the way he inspired courage, hope, and unity in others. He had proven that leadership was about more than power. It was about understanding, guiding, and trusting those around you. As the weeks turned into months, Zorathia's people thrived under the combined leadership of their queen and her human husband. The kingdom's defenses were stronger than ever, the soldiers more confident, and the citizens proud of their leadership. Stories of Ethan's heroism spread throughout the cities. From the crystal towers of the capital to the outer colonies, even the Vorlax Empire, though bitter from their defeat, began to show respect for the human who had changed the outcome of battle. Reports suggested that enemy commanders spoke of him in cautious tones, warning their allies about the clever and brave human who had outsmarted their forces. Lyrael reflected on how far Ethan had come. When she first met him, he had seemed quiet, modest, and unassuming. But she now understood that his calm demeanor hid a mind capable of extraordinary brilliance and a heart capable of great courage. His presence had not only protected her kingdom, it had transformed it. One evening, Lyrael invited Ethan to the Royal Observatory. The stars stretched endlessly across the sky, each one a reminder of the vastness of the galaxy. She stood beside him, feeling a deep sense of connection and admiration. "Ethan," she said, "I once thought modesty meant weakness. I was wrong. You have shown me that true strength lies not in appearances, but in courage, wisdom, and care for others. You have changed my understanding of humans, and perhaps even of leadership itself." Ethan smiled, his calm demeanor unchanged, but his eyes reflected a deep understanding. "I am honored, Your Majesty. I only wish to serve and protect. Strength is best when used for others, not just for oneself." Lyrael felt a warmth in her heart. She realized that she had married not only a human, but a hero, a leader, and a partner who complemented her in ways no one else could. Together, they could face any challenge, unite their people, and lead Zorathia to greater heights. In the following days, Lyrael and Ethan worked closely, planning not only military strategies, but also improvements for the kingdom. Ethan introduced new ideas for education, resource management, and communication, blending human ingenuity with alien technology. The palace buzzed with energy as new projects began, all inspired by the quiet, modest man who had become a hero. Citizens and soldiers alike began to see Ethan not just as a human, but as a symbol of hope and unity. Stories of his bravery and cleverness were shared across the kingdom, inspiring young and old alike. Lirael watched with pride as her people embraced the lessons Ethan had taught them: courage, intelligence, and the value of every individual, no matter their size or origin. One day, as the palace gardens glowed under the light of the twin moons, Lirael turned to Ethan. "You have shown us all what it means to be truly extraordinary. I cannot imagine Zoralia without you." Ethan looked at her, calm and thoughtful, yet his smile was gentle and reassuring. "I only hope to continue guiding and protecting your majesty. Together, we can face whatever the galaxy throws at us." Lirael nodded. She realized that she had not only found a human husband, but a true partner in every sense. He was courageous, intelligent, modest, and extraordinary in ways she had never imagined. The quiet man she had married had become the heart of her kingdom's strength, the inspiration for her people, and the hero of their story. The galaxy beyond Zoralia was vast and full of challenges, but Lirael no longer felt doubt or fear. With Ethan by her side, she knew they could face anything. Together, they had proven that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome even the greatest threats. As they stood side by side, looking at the stars, Lirael felt a deep sense of peace. The modest man she had married had revealed his true strength, and in doing so, had reshaped her world. She understood that true heroism did not always shout, it often moved quietly, thoughtfully, and with unwavering courage. And in that quiet strength, the future of Zoralia was safe, bright, and full of promise.